have you heard a disaster lately? Welcome to the Insiders, gents and lasses. Welcome to the Hawaiian Hellman and Women special. We want to have a bit of a chat about the Hui backdoor shootout, and which was for us last night's absolute concentration of madness at Waimea Bay. Oh, what do you reckon, Matt?
Mate, the Eddie, as what's the saying? The Bay called the day.
The
I heard that.
Bay calls the day. That's what
I
they've
heard.
always said.
I heard that multiple times last night. But yeah, man. I mean, really, really getting my fix of surfing from Hawaii right now, and
That was just a
loving.
seven-year wait.
Yeah, yeah. It felt like. Oh, we'll go into it a little bit more, I guess. Should we do the Eddie first? It's fresh, and then we'll do the Hui. Yeah.
Yes. Kick
Cool.
off with the Eddie, man. How sick is that? Like, just like, don't jeopardize your brand. Had a lot of fights with Quicksilver over the years
Yeah,
because obviously they want to run. It would be easy to run when it's 15 foot, 18
yeah,
foot. They never did. They never did. It
yeah.
had to be, it's got to be 20 foot all day from morning to dark. And they then hope for good wins, which they had. Huh?
Yeah, for me, how sick the actual thought of the fact that, and like spoiler alert for anybody, but
Oh, don't worry, it happened yesterday. You can
but
spoil it.
the fact that that guy was at work, right? He was
Mate,
on
it put a
duty.
tear in my eye.
So what's his name? Luke Shepardson.
Luke
Shepardson.
Shepherdson, he
Yeah. So
charges, man.
like
Obviously.
obviously North Shore Water Patrol lifeguard, like they're known to be the best in the world, and far out like turns up at work and then just wins the Eddie. And it's not only that he won the Eddie, but it was more that when you look at it, so fourth place Billy Kemper, third place Mark Healy, second place John Florence. So you hear that and you're like, oh, who's first? Kai Lenny,
I
maybe.
forget I
Yeah,
forget who I said that today. He
Luke
beat
Shepard.
John and won
Yeah,
the Eddie.
yeah, like and yeah, madness. And then there's clips. There's a few clips I saw. Like Kiana Kelly got like smashed up or whatever, and he was like I think it was just after his heat, and he was back to work, and then he went back out for another heat, and then he wins the Eddie. It's to me that was like the special part about it. I've got some downsides to it, but not many. I think it's like I love like what you said, how they stick true to the brand, stick true to the word, like 20 foot all day with max in peak and swell midday, or it's not on. That all of that's sick.
Don't tell me your negatives are the most amateur kind of commentary setup in the world.
It
Well,
wasn't.
they just get everyone wrong all the time. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
still thought it was funny, and somewhere it's cool. I'm not going to say that's what I liked about it either, because, like, for example, we were like fully cheering for Justine to point the
yeah,
boom in this house because she's woman one, and also she's French. She's our only French
I,
writer in there,
I was
and she
fully,
got this banger, and I just went,
yeah,
"Oh, Mason Ho."
I was fully backing her, and I love seeing the fact that Mike Ho's out there. That's sick. And to be fair, Ross Clark Jones, when I think first heat, he got that huge wave. And then they done a close up on him, and he literally looks like a barrel on legs. And
Yeah,
he's an
yeah.
absolute hell man. And he's sick as well. I thought there was so many cool things about it.
Hey, Peter Mel got hey cliffhanger of a drop.
Yeah, he got a sick drop because he was that is that the one where he was on it with someone else? I forget who the other
Yes,
rider was. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes.
And he looked like he
I
was
just don't know how he stuck it.
no, it was meant. There was one as well where Kai Lenny got like swallowed by a whitewater and then just came out, and I was like, wait, what? No one does that. Like how have you just done that?
God, Lenny, geez, he's good. Like you see, like I'm over 50, and like I wasn't wanting anyone to win, but then when I saw that Peter Mel was in it, and I thought, how cool is that? Shane Dorian, they're all my generation, and some other dude, I forget who it was, but and obviously Ross Clark Jones, he's a bit older, but not too much older, like 6-7 years, but
Yeah, was
like,
it Landon? Is it Landon McNamara? He's a bit of an old boy. I think it was
no, he
him.
isn't. His dad
Yeah, no, wait,
was
no, there's someone
he's
else.
he's Garrett McNamara's son.
Yeah,
No,
there's someone else.
Liam McNamara's son, who was the hell pipe charger.
Yeah, and he's good. There was someone else in it. I know who you're talking about, and he's a bit older.
There's also Jamie Mitchell, who was in it, who's like,
Yeah,
he's not that much already, like a world legend paddle champion. It was like
mental paddler. Yeah,
like obviously the who's who. But
yeah,
did you notice that none of those dudes were in the top six because it's
no,
just too gnarly?
yeah,
Like,
and it's a little
you have to
bit
get
like
three of them.
it's
You couldn't
funny.
just get one.
No, it's funny how they say like the bay calls the day, and I felt like it was almost like the bay picks the winner because almost like every wave almost looks exactly to me anyway, to an untrained eye, almost looked exactly the same. And then one would close out, one would stay a bit more open, like one would have a bit of a hell drop, one would like shoulder off quicker. And yeah, so some waves you was like, oh, that's gonna be mad, and then suddenly like fizzled out, and then some waves were like just blew your mind anyway. But it was
Well,
sick.
it's so obvious, right? But let's rewind 7 years to the last one. And I was watching it, like, I just love what I've always loved and wanted to watch the Eddie. I wish I had been able to go there one time, even though I just think it's probably too crowded. And I remember like watching Mason Ho swing, and imagine he was 7 years younger at the time, swing and take off on this wave. And I was just like thinking, don't go that. Like, what were you thinking? And then I was sitting to myself saying, what am I thinking? That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Just swing and go. That's what the whole comp's about. So, like, you saw there were sets that
Mate,
were
there's some.
unrideable, man.
Did you see Jamie
Unrideable.
Mitchell's wife out? I think yeah, he like
No, Twiggies. I saw Twiggies, which was
yeah,
the same as his other one.
yeah. Oh, that's right. So that's the one. Yeah, Twiggies. It was literally like 2 minutes before they'd shown the clip of 2014 where he got that wipeout, and then came back to live, and he was just in a different color jersey, and he'd done the exact same wipeout. I was like, what? That's
So Twiggy listeners, Grant Baker, he's another 50-year-old, like nearly 50, like off, like just they're not even like good big wave surfers. They're like icons, huh? There was like probably 10 icons in there. If you can watch it, there's you can watch the full 8-hour replay.
Yeah,
It's like gold mine.
yeah.
It's just fun. I mean, it's not performance surfing, but geez, watching people jump off a cliff for 8 hours, it's kind of an adrenaline packed.
Yeah. Did you see actually back to Grant Twiggy Baker? I when I went and visited Pukas in the summer, I met Axel Lorenz, and he was shaping a gun, a 9.8 gun for Twiggy Baker, Grant Twiggy Baker. And he had an old board there that he was like working with to make this new one. And he was like, I'll pick it up. And I picked it up. The weight of the thing, I remember picking it up thinking, whatever this is made for, I never ever want to be anywhere near in terms of actually surfing it. And that
Hey, can you say Pukas?
Pukas.
You have to throw the assa on the English, don't you?
Pukas. Yeah, but that was sick. And yeah, do you know what you said about it being an 8-hour like adrenaline rush and stuff? It was weird because so my only negative, and actually it wasn't that the commentary was amateur, in terms of like they didn't have any scores. That was my biggest negative, is that Surfline didn't even have a scoreboard on the top and stuff. Like it would have been cool to know what was being judged. But the bad thing is they had 3 commentators, and they were switching between this Rocky guy and the Doxy
And your
got
favourite, Kaipo?
but Kaipo done 8 hours straight, which I've got semi respect for. But
Oh,
fuck.
heavy.
But back to what you were saying is, I reckon there was about 10 different times where I was like, right, I've got to get up now, or right, let's turn this off now, or like, right, should be going to bed now, because obviously time frames for me were not great and stuff. And I just couldn't. Like, I was like,
Yeah, because then you see a set on
yeah,
the horizon. It's
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 madness. Fun. It was like, and that's the thing is, like you say, the surfing wasn't even good. Like, no, let me take that back. The surfing was amazing, but the surfing wasn't great to watch. It's almost like, like the camera.
It's not. It's a different sort of surfing. It's
exactly.
Like, can you hold on to your board going down that face?
Yeah, and like the thing as well is for me is like I was watching it thinking your paddle power must be next level. Your commitment has to be through the roof. Like, and then your technique.
Not knowing what you're going to happen when you get to your feet.
And fuck doing that backside. Whoever's a goofy foot out there deserves extra
Healy
points.
comes third. He's older too. I don't know how old Mark Healy is, but
and also shout out to Billy Kemper as well for doing. He had a fucking knee brace on. Like he had the
whatever. Shout out to Makuakai Rothman. Did it with. He's going in for surgery in a week.
Yeah, literally.
So I guess he's going in for surgery for a week. He knows it's gonna,
Yeah, but at the same time, he's still got to stand up.
Could have done more damage. Honestly, he could have done more damage.
Yeah, and like, who was it?
Imagine could have done the other knee.
Yeah,
the crawl up the beach.
But there was one question that they didn't answer that I couldn't see the answer. It's why Kelly wasn't surfing in it. He was meant to be.
They said that he pulled out. You got to think it's got something to do with pipe next week. Would you? It's like 6 days away. He's already won it.
Yeah, he's won it, but then John was in it. But yeah, I don't know.
John's not 50.
No, but he's fucking injury prone.
yeah. But John's Hawaiian.
Yeah,
and he's there, and he's got. I think his brother didn't do it. He had a good excuse, fractured vertebra.
I'm surprised he didn't as well. To be fair, like I wouldn't have been surprised if he was out there with a fractured.
Well, it would have been. It just would have been stupid. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying some of them aren't stupid because, I mean, I know it's I don't know. It's you can't relate to it. Like Makuakai Rossman, he grew up in a. He's like for that sort of thing. It's pure blood. You know what I mean?
Almost,
they can't say no to it. They can't not.
Yeah,
I was still say that. But you want to be a cripple the rest of your life as well.
I was going to say that though. It's a bit like. With Billy and with Makuakai is like it's not an option. It's not you've been invited to the Eddy. It's you're surfing the Eddy. Like
and something with Billy as well because his entire brand. Now I hate saying that. I hate how people talk about themselves as a brand, but you would consider him as a brand. Fucking 3 or 4 times Jaws.
Or
like obviously he wanted to win it. He wants the money. He wants to walk all over everyone because he's got to feed his family and all that stuff that Billy goes on about. But still, he could be out for the rest of. Nowhere. And I looked at that since the Dahui, which we'll go into soon. Nowhere does it actually say what he did.
There is a post.
He was very tight-lipped about it, man.
It doesn't say what he did, but there was a post.
Nowhere.
His wife commented on something and basically said they got very, very fortunate. And in the end, it was just some bruising and stitches. So I don't think he actually...
did ligaments or anything.
Didn't and actually damage bones. Like there was no break, no like tears or anything like that. I think it was actually... just heavy bruising and stitches. So
as opposed to Makuakai, who's got, I think, like he's got ligaments to change and stuff.
Yeah, I think he done
probably a medial.
Ligaments and hamstring or something, or both. Like that's heavy, and it's kind of funny because we spoke about it before. But
I'm going to tell him if I ever seen that you thought it was funny.
That's not the funny part. Is like Kalar Grace. So Kalar Grace obviously had the
So he cracked his head on the reef, correct?
So yeah, it's
His
mental.
helmet came off.
So he went on a wave, wiped out, and his helmet got blown off. And then the wave behind him, which someone was on, Emilio or Ameo,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
got,
Tahitian.
but the detonation zone was exactly where Kalara Grace was, and yeah, he got smashed into the reef face first. So it wasn't like side of it, like front.
Straight after your helmet gets ripped off.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the pipe gods just were like angry at you.
Angry at everyone that day apparently, because apparently there's a Japanese surfer as well who got fucked up, and obviously Makuakai got his injury, Billy got his injury, but
So Carl was in a coma for like 3 days.
induced. Yeah, induced. So they apparently pulled him out, and he was out. Resuscitated him on the beach with loads of water coming out of him,
We
and
jumped
then
the gun. We got to switch back to the
yeah,
Eddie and finish it off. Sorry, listeners, but we do that. Like, just enjoy the yo-yo of a ride. Huh?
that's it.
Hey, so he won 10 grand. I read a thing today, and this didn't even enter my mind. Like, because well, it was a Quicksilver event for so
Yeah,
many years. Huh? They
yeah,
left it. They dropped it. The IKR family picked it up themselves
yeah,
and said, "We're going to do it with no prize money." And everyone said, "We'll still do it." This was a
yeah,
few years ago. Huh? And, they've got, you see, it's on the local TV and everything. And I read some guy going like, it must have been an American. Oh yeah, and why he must be so gutted, and that's stupid and not fair because if you won 7 years ago, you won 70 grand, and this one you won 10 grand. And I was thinking already, didn't even think about the 10 grand. Like
yeah.
he won. He's a local Hawaii. He won the Eddie Aikau. He's in history.
He's eating for free
He's
wherever he wants to go.
it's just he's in history. He's lifeguard at that beach. That's
He's
just
he's not paying.
ridiculous.
He's not paying for a drink in a long time. I can tell you that much for free. Like there's yes, yes for the risk to reward not to reward, sorry, for the risk factor that they took, and for the level, and like we all watched it. I saw on YouTube there was consistent all throughout the day. There was 90,000 people watching. So Surfline were making money from it. Whoever were making money from
He
it.
could end up with sponsors out of it anyway, huh?
Exactly.
And
He's gonna get. He's
and
gonna
you'd
get.
think so. It's just literally like someone saying you're the
But also,
like you've won the academy.
this is something that you said about yo-yos and stuff. But this is something I'll probably come back to later. But if someone came up to you today, Daz, and was like, "Here's 10 grand," to you, to me, and you, that's a that's a lot of money.
Would have
So,
loved the tenner.
so this guy's a lifeguard, right, in Hawaii. I reckon he's probably looked after. They're probably paid well, like risk money and stuff like that. But like 10 grand to that
Now
guy
he's got the best trip he can have all year, or pay off his car,
is 10 grand.
or
Is 10 grand to him more valuable than £70,000 to John Florence? In my opinion, it is.
oh yeah, there
So
you go. There's one point, and that's why I was stoked as well when I saw the last two of them there. You didn't like. I love John, whatever. I didn't want John to win.
I
Sitting
don't
there,
even reckon. I don't even reckon John wanted to win. I
no, I
reckon
don't think so either.
if you watched, like, I think if you like went through and asked all the surfers, would you rather
I want to
this?
see his three waves somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, I saw. I saw. I think I've seen two of them
I
because
saw his first one. It's the biggest one that I saw the
yeah,
whole night.
because his first one was huge. But yeah, I think it's with the Eddie. It's the one. It's a bit. It's maybe a bit like Pipe with Eddie and Pipe. Like for Balaram, he's now a pipe master, and you can't take that away from him. Like someone said, that I think it was one of the commentators said,
Okay, which one out of the two now? Here we are after them both. Which one of the two now, in the way that the pipe was run and this was done, which one do you think is more prestigious?
wow, more maybe prestigious is probably the Eddie, but I actually think to Balaram, he would rather be a pipe master, and to the Luke Stewardson,
Shepherdson.
Shepardson, sorry,
Doing the sheep.
Yeah, Luke Shepherdson, he would rather be an Eddie winner. So I think actually both winners would probably they wouldn't trade one for the other. But here's a question for you, because I heard this on the
Well, I think the Eddie's come off way more prestigious because it hasn't run for 7 years. They got the best day ever.
Yeah.
Whereas
think...
the Pipe Masters finished in 3 foot, and it wasn't really a Pipe Master with no Pipe Masters in it. Or maybe there was one in there. I didn't see one.
What about
it was sponsored by Vans, and it just got too much talk up about airs.
What about if though, like, say for example, the Pipe Masters, but like not the conditions that it potentially ran in. If it was like great pipe, do you not think there's a part of it like that? Like obviously Balaram serves pipe. Everyone said it. He serves pipe no matter what it looks like. So for him to win an event there probably means a massive amount to him. And then on the flip
I'm not
side,
saying that it's not.
No, I know that.
Valid. But the Eddie come off as way more.
Here's
way more prestigious, way more weight behind it.
Here's a question.
Did you see that crowd? Did you see that crowd on the beach for the pipe? No.
They were, especially finals day. So here's a question for you. They said this on commentary because they were talking about Kelly. They were saying, like, they basically said Kelly might value his one Eddie win over his 11 world titles, which I think might be a stretch.
I think that's a bit of a stretch.
How many world titles do you think an Eddie is worth?
I don't like. It depends if you've only won one.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of dudes that if they had not Hawaiian dudes that aren't on the CT, would say the Eddie. But I think across the board, nearly you'd have to think most of them would say the world title. They say the Eddie if they've won the Eddie and never won the world title.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a hard one, isn't it? It's a good one, but someone said it.
Like for someone like Zeke Lau, maybe the Eddie, maybe not. Maybe he's more. I think maybe the world title.
Maybe, but then it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I think he probably thinks more about winning a world title and probably motivates him more. But then at the same time, when Eddies get called on, I don't know, to dangle the carrot and be like, do you fancy winning this thing?
Well, for someone like Bruce,
I want to talk about Bruce.
I think it was that Eddie he didn't have a crack at the world title, but I think he would have picked the Eddie because it was less work. It was a one-day job.
Yeah. And did Andy ever win it? Because that's the one
no.
So Andy won 4 world titles, and Bruce has won the Eddie, and it's kind of like I can imagine those two having arguments like Andy,
for sure,
world champ, and he's like, yeah, but I'm an Eddie winner. Talking about, I hadn't seen Bruce Irons winning wave when he won the Eddie for years and years and years and years and years. And I implore anyone to go watch it because it's one of the sickest things that I've ever watched.
Sick.
When he pulls into,
I saw it live, man.
When he pulls into that
but I mean online, I guess.
So when they replayed it last night, I was like, what an absolute hero. When he fucking salutes to the beach and then pulls into that closeout, you're just like, yes.
Did you see Lucas Shumbo did a floater?
No.
Semi one. So what was heavy I saw was Justine's first heat. She was with Kiala Kennelly.
Yeah.
And Dorian, I think Kai Lenny maybe in that. And she didn't get a wave.
No.
I was watching. She was sitting on the shoulder and there were sets breaking wide. And I couldn't work out, is she sitting on the shoulder to be away or is she sitting on the shoulder to get a chip in when the others are too deep? And I just thought, lucky there's 2 heats because she's not alone. That happens to a lot of people in situations like that where, okay, I don't think she's ever surfed a spot before. I don't know if there were many other contestants like her that would have had that situation. Like Nick Van Rupp, I don't know if he ever had, but he like deserved his call up too, and he charged into a couple. So then I like thought, fuck, she didn't even get away. But then and I saw Paige Almas got a hell one.
Yeah.
But then when Justine got her wave, it was a hell wave.
Yeah.
Late drop deep.
Do you think that, like, I know it's hard to say, but do you think, like, obviously she had that mad drop in that we spoke about and stuff, and do you think, like, you know, almost like she didn't feel like she deserved to be alongside those people in those waves, even though she does?
No, I reckon that she was probably a little bit rattled out there, man. She coughed up blood a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is so like she didn't feel maybe as comfortable as she maybe would have if that guy doesn't drop in on her. She makes the sickest wave that a woman's ever surfed at Jaws, and then comes into it full of confidence.
Maybe. I re-looked at it. She could have pulled into that and been back in rehab as well, which is
true.
Bit by bit going to happen more and more to these crew.
And far out, she went and surfed that massive fucking thing off of America, Cortez Bank.
Yeah, but that wasn't as heavy as the Eddie yesterday. It's glassy and they're getting towed in.
Yeah.
Yesterday was just as big, and they got to paddle into it with wind up the face, and it wasn't even like perfect. Like, you know what I mean? It was chunky.
Did you see Kai Lenny do an ollie?
Yeah, he did a couple of ollies, didn't he?
Yeah. He just
it's a level of confidence, isn't it?
It was, you just saw him catch. He caught his first wave, he caught, and he kind of like surfed it. And then you saw that he thought, I don't know, something clicked, and he was like, well, I'm not that worried anymore. And then like suddenly he's like catching huge waves and then getting bored halfway down the face, so he's just doing an ollie.
For Kai Lenny is his brand. I'm just going to join the Americans and talk about people and their brands. I think winning the Eddie's more valuable to him personally and financially and professionally than pipe. Would you agree with that one?
Yeah,
because it's more up his alleyway.
Yeah, 100%. That was exactly the same point I was making with Balaram, but like on the flip side is
I understand with Balaram, but I'm just saying.
But you make sense.
I'm not even talking about Balaram or Luke Shepherdson or whatever. I'm just talking about the actual event, how it came. How it came out.
Exactly, 100% is. There's half the people in that event, like Billy and like we said, like Kai and that, where winning that event ups their level of a big wave great kind of thing. Like they already are greats, but that's basically it kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a feather in the cap. Or it's actually like you can be a really super smart guy like me, or you. Or you can you can get a degree from a university, which is actually proof that you've been able to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can tell people you're smart and they're going to go, oh, yeah. Well, you go, well, I've got a degree, and they can kind of go. But you can tell people, hey, I charge, and everyone can go, yeah, the guy was charging. And then you can say, well, the guy won the Eddie.
Yeah.
Or the guy won pipe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, definitely. Like when they're down the pub and they're older and they're like, you're telling your grandkids, oh yeah, I used to charge, I used to this, and they're like, yeah, whatever, granddad. And then they're like, oh yeah, your granddad won the Eddie. You're like, oh, my granddad's a hero, like kind of thing. So
and maybe as well in these days, because like for someone like you who's from Southeast UK, it's a bit different because you're really in the surfing as a job. But like a long time ago, hardly anyone even knew about the Eddie.
Yeah, no,
like no one didn't know nothing about it. People would know about the World Tour or know about Pipe, and like you talk about, but because it's been so kind of branded,
you're right,
talked about, and it's more prestigious. Maybe his win now here in this day of social media and communication is worth more than that 70 grand that it was worth 7 years ago. Huh?
Yeah. But then you say that as well. And I went into work this morning. I work at a surf company. And I was like, oh, anyone catch the eddy? No one else watched it. No one else knew it was on. A couple of the boys was like, oh, yeah, seen some Instagram clips. And I was kind of like, what? Like, fair enough. Everyone each their own. It was a Sunday night in England or whatever. But yeah, it's still not like you're right. Is
Did you have it on your telly? We got a
yeah,
smart TV, so
yeah,
straight on YouTube.
Straight
How
on
unreal is
YouTube.
that?
So sick. So sick. Felt like I was there. Yeah. So yeah, moving on from the Eddie to back to the Hui shootout, which obviously ran at Pipe. Sick event. I love the idea of the event and stuff. I wish they'd done highlights from it because they only do like the whole thing, which is a bit heavy. But Pipe turned on, it showed up, like it showed its teeth.
How gnarly is that place? Because honestly, when you're watching it, like when I was watching it, and like a couple of dudes said best ever, whatever. Most of them, like honestly, it just looked like a Mac and Dave closeouts.
Yeah. So I
Didn't
listened to like Mike Ho done some like he was on something for like 2 minutes, whatever, and he said he saw people saying it was the best ever. He was like, it wasn't the best ever. There was a lot of backwash and all of that, but it was heavy, and it made me like I said we wasn't going to talk about the WSL, and we're not, but it made me think to myself like the WSL have got like the Hui shootout is pipe specialists basically, right? They're all invite pipe specialists. That's kind of the idea of it. As such, you pick a team, but like there's people who have never surfed pipe, and in 10 days time or whatever, if it shows up like that, it could be pure carnage.
Yeah, they're not. No one's equipped for that without experience. Like yesterday, look yesterday, you got guys like Peter Mel, Ross Clark Jones have dedicated their lives to it, and they got so much skill and experience, and even younger guys that were in it, like the biggest freak of his generation, John,
Yeah,
and Luke Shepherdson. And I'm telling you, I've seen him on my radar for a couple of years. He charges pipe too. This guy's a really good surfer.
yeah.
You can imagine when he was younger, he would have done comps and everything as well. Huh? You don't just get to win the Eddie by being a gung ho dude. But he beat John because that's what experience counts for. And like if you put 15-foot pipe in 10 days time, like the Dahui. Like as good as some of these guys are technically, it's just a pretty heavy situation to be in.
Exactly.
Even to know what board you're going to take out of like 10 foot.
Yeah, you're 100%. It's like your point is exactly correct. Like, would you send who's a very good surfer? Say for example, like Felipe, great surfer, world champ. I would have been worried if he was out at Waimea Bay yesterday because he's not put that time in there and stuff. And I kind of, there's people heading over to Pipe who haven't surfed it a lot because they wouldn't have been able to.
Saying that, the top dogs, Gabrielle, John, Kelly, say someone else.
Baron.
No, he's not on the tour. Owen
Baron
Wright. Baron. Sorry, I got mixed up with Ballaram. They're both Bs.
Oh, yeah, Baron.
Owen Wright, who's not on the tour, but okay. Ryan Callahan, who is the new Owen Wright. Those guys would still shine and maybe get better scores. Maybe not, but I would think so.
Yeah. I'm thinking more like I won't lie. I'm thinking like, how many times has Ramsey surf pipe? How many times has
Maxime surf pipe a ton of times?
Yeah, Maxime
even still.
Yeah, and like Rio Wider, grew up in Indo. He's surfing over reef all the time and stuff, but pipe's a different kettle of fish, man. Anyway, not talking about WSL, the Hui. I love it. I love. There were some people missing. Super upset to not see Mason in it in a team with his dad. and stuff like that. But there was some sick surfing and some mental barrels. That Emilio, so we went back to it earlier. So
He's just a freak.
Kalal Grace got fucked up.
Oh, he got that hell barrel. My one got best.
That didn't even count.
Barrel.
I didn't realize that was after the comp, but still, like madness.
Okay, it wasn't in a heat, but
No.
but you can use it for her
Triple Crown.
digital Vans Triple Crown thing.
Yeah,
which I don't really rate, but still, the concept it was better than nothing in times of a pandemic.
I agree. I really think about that. Side note about that is I really think there's something there with that. I think it just needs to be done slightly differently because all of the clips and stuff just get like lost kind of thing. But yeah, Moana's barrel was mental. Whether it was in the comp or not, it was mental.
See, it's just not a comp, even though the Vans one and that one. I mean, I like them, but it's just like, okay, it's a free surf. It's not where someone gets knocked out. And that's the whole thing about a comp. It's like the pressure of you have to get that wave during that time. Like yesterday, you have to get your scores. You get 2 cracks at it, which is good and everything like that. But you get 2 cracks in most of those comps anyway because there's a knockout round. But the thing I like about it is where they're teams where they're not actually snaking each other because it's like 5 mates together and you go out and you share it.
Did you see Kelly's 2 waves? He caught.
Yeah. I was watching that. Luckily,
his no grab pipe wave, no grab pumps over the phone ball.
Backside one.
That's mental. And then he gets a mental backdoor wave as well.
He's just such an incredible athlete. It was
sick.
It just can't even be
50.
really described.
Yeah. That was madness. And who was the other one who got an absolute?
I mean, you would have heard that quote because I told you the other day I watched what is it? The tie break.
Breakpoint
Netflix tennis thing, and someone was saying Federer's the greatest. Was it Federer or Nadal? The greatest sportsman in any sport. Obviously, immediately I thought of Kelly, and I don't think he's better than him. Yeah, I don't think tennis player is better than Kelly.
It's so hard to cross.
It is different. It's crazy what they do on the tennis court too, isn't it?
Wait until you get to episode 5 when you see Rafa Nadal's stat at Roland Garros.
Okay, but I've watched. I told you, I met the director of the comp many times. I was like 15 meters away from Nadal when he played, and I just felt sorry for the other two. Yeah, it's just like he didn't give the other guy even a chance.
His
so different surfing, isn't it?
In 15 years of playing at Roland Garros, he's lost 3 times. He's won over. It's like his stats are like over 150 wins, and he's lost 3 times. He's only been taken to 5 sets 3 times. He's a freak, especially on clay.
In the warm up, he was running to the net and back, grunting, and me and my son looked at each other and just kind of went, "Ooh."
So intense. But that's a good relevant point though. It's like that's what the Hui brings that that you don't get during other comps is, like you said, they're in a team format and stuff. So you don't get Kelly playing mind games with people. You don't get like
that part is great.
It's amazing because that's what it gives you, a complete different aspect to surfing.
Who did win it? Did they just have a team winner or an individual winner?
Individual winner. So Benji Brand won it, and
Benji Brand.
And then Ivan Florence finished 2nd, and sick shout out, Kalar Grace finished 3rd after his and it's not
hell barrel.
It's not a sympathy vote as well because the wave he caught before it was huge.
It was mind bending.
So
he's the Ho's cousin, you know that.
He's the cousin, and it was funny though. 2 Goofy Foots won it, both going frontside.
And did Benji Brand, did I see that picture correctly? Did he win like 50 grand or something?
Yeah.
For that?
Yeah.
How did they get so much sponsorship for that?
I
and
know.
the Eddie not.
Yeah. God
I
knows.
think that next Eddie will have more sponsorship.
Hopefully.
'Cause now they just go, look how many views we had. It was on
Yeah.
live television,
Yeah.
broadcast across the world. I guess we'll be able to see it on the YouTube, how many views there
Yeah,
were.
definitely. Well, like I said, I was watching it for ages, and the whole time it was over 90,000 viewers every time. Like there had a lot of people watching it.
Well, it's
So
just an incredible island for surf. Hey, so I reckon we've got to save a bit in the tank, which we'll talk to our listeners
yeah,
later on the week for a pipe special, because pipe is one of the most famous waves in the world, and I think it warrants it. I mean, there's so much
definitely.
going on in surfing with surfboards, wetsuits, everything else that we can and we'll talk about this year. But pipe deserves a little spot there.
100%. And we'll be announcing our survival picks live so everyone can follow if we lose or not. So,
Have you heard a disaster lately?
well, your last episode, the last episode, you dropped the disaster about breaking the bridge, the fin plug
You want a
on.
good one?
Go for it.
Sometimes you'd think that I couldn't trump that sort of shit, huh?
Yeah, let's
So,
drop it. Let's roll
well,
into it.
well. Today, by the way, was cooking premium waves. Friday was cooking too, and then Saturday, Sunday surf dropped. I had to have surf seniors. We had like every person in the world who hasn't been able to surf for the last few weeks because of the storms, and it was a bit of a shit fight. Like packed, peaks packed. Wasn't many banks. I was packed, and then it got to my whole family went away on Saturday night. I had the home alone. I was frothing for Sunday morning. It was actually haggis. So I've come back home. I went shopping, did the washing. You know what I mean? Bit of vacuuming, all that sort of hell stuff you love doing. And then I saw the wind wasn't up, so I whipped back down for a surf. Saw this hell bank. Not many guys out. Got out there. Got a couple. Just had, when you're always in the wrong position.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
that surf. I was muttering to myself, talking to myself like a madman. And I've come in, and then finally I did get a really good one in. And I seen this younger guy that was out there while I was out there, and he was ripping. He got tons of waves, and I was too deep on one, and he was looking at me, and I called him into it. And like he comes past the car and he goes, "Oh man, thanks for calling me into that wave." I was like, "Hey, like you had position, man. I wasn't gonna just take off deep to ruin you the wave, which would be a don't."
Yeah.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. So then I quickly look at my phone. I got to pick up both my kids from different places, jump in the car, go and get the older one, then pick up my youngest one. It was like a circle loop back to my house. I opened the boot to put my son's stuff. He's been away for the weekend. No board in the car.
Again.
Yeah.
How do you manage this, man? You need
Just
like
like you'd think it couldn't happen.
I don't know how you do that. Did you go and get it?
So I'm like, obviously I swore. I'm like, fuck. And my older son next to me he goes, and I go, got to go home. My youngest son is in the back going, no, we got to go and play football. I mean, my mate. And I was like, well, you can wait. And had to speed across Hossegor through the back way, come up around. It's in a little secret car park, huh?
Yeah.
Come around, no board.
Far out.
Just fucking gutted. Gracie 6'4",
Demi
Demi Boo, and this set of 20 fins, 2+1 twins in a trailer that Kale Brock left me.
And no one's come forward or anything like that.
And Elliot's like, you got to put it on Facebook. I was going, yeah, I'm going to put it on Facebook. We get home. He's going, you can do it straight away. I was going, yeah, I'll do it when I get home. There's this thing called Hossegor Crew, which is just funny. It deserves an episode of itself. It's like people go like, salut le crew, like, hi the crew.
Yeah.
Hey, I've just moved into the area and I'm
Far
going to
out.
do some pole dancing. Does anyone want to do it with me? Or,
Yeah, boy.
hey, does anyone know a really good carpenter who works cheap?
So did you put it on there?
Yes, I put it on there. And I tried to not sound like a fucking idiot, obviously. And like, a long story, but this board got left, and if anyone saw it, and then like I thought, yeah, and I thought, I'm pretty lucky with this sort of shit, and then had a look back, boom, and about 4 people tagged me because some other dude had found it and put a picture of it and said, "Hey, I found this board.
Sick. Well
Does anyone
played.
know who it is?" And I'd already posted it, so it was just ting, ting, ting. Like about 20 people tagged me, and about 20 people said, "Oh, what a nice guy! Gee, you're lucky." Oh, I know that. And I met up with him today. I gave him a bottle of champagne.
Good effort. Well played for rewarding him. I would have promised him a pie in the summer and then told him, and then forget.
Yeah, he didn't want to take. I meant to promise him the pie, but I will. I'll send him a message. I'll say, "Come in."
Yeah.
I'll give him 20% off on a pie. Hey.
Charging for ketchup.
Fucking hell.
That's a classic. I'm glad you got it back.
Okay, that's straight on. Don't leave your board in the car park, crew, because you aren't going to always get lucky like me. I don't know what sort of freak I am.
A face.
But people, they just, like that sort of shit. Like I've done it. I could name maybe 50 incidents. This and shit just comes back to me. Huh? But
viewers, what should do?
Listeners, you know it as well. You're listening, if you are, that I'm not the only one who does this stuff. I'm telling you. I used to beat myself up about it, but other people do it. Don't worry, I know. Other people do it. People leave shit everywhere. I know it.
Don't know if
they leave phones, all sorts of stuff. Huh?
I don't know if people do it weekly or not. I actually have it. I kind of have a disaster to tell you about, actually. This is sick. It's not on your level, and I'll make it quick. So last week
that's kind of hard to manage.
Shit! I surfed a new board as well. I surfed a 7-7 Morris Cole, right?
Oh, sick!
It's mental. It blew my mind, right? So first session, I hadn't surfed it, and it was little.
Remember that, listeners. Length is good. Length is lovely.
Yeah. So I surfed this board, and so it was little sunset.
No innuendo.
Yes, sunset session, and I was at work, and our graphics guy Jake was like, "Well, I'll come with you," and he's got a van, and this is a 7-7, and I drive a Fiesta, which is a small car. So I was like, "Oh, should we just both go in your van because we're going at the same time and stuff?" And he was like, "Yeah."
I don't think you should be telling too many people you drive a Fiesta, but we'll forget it.
It's all good. It's a bad boy car, anyway, and so we get in his van, load it up. It's like sick. Get down there. Sun setting looks mental. It's like a chest high wave. I'm sitting deeper than anyone on this 7-7 Morris Cole, and I'm not even gonna like be humble about it. I am lighting up. I am absolutely loving this thing. I'm surfing, fucking absolutely flying, taking waves with everyone. Like, yes, I was like proper turkey smoking, and get back to the van. Well, Jake gets out about 5 minutes before me, and I get back to the van. I've done the classic, one more, meant 4 more, and then go back to the van, and he's like, he's on the phone, and he looks like really upset and stuff, and I'm like, what's going on? And get back, and his back tire is as flat as a pancake. So I had to ring my warehouse manager.
That's probably someone who's let his tire down because he saw you catching too many waves.
Probably. Well, Jake, who I went with, dropped in on a sup harder than I've ever seen. This sup was up and riding, and he saw him. I know he saw him, and he still paddled, and he still went. And then so maybe it was that.
I don't condone it, but it was
funny. But so I had to ring my warehouse manager. I didn't have any clothes with me or anything because we was just going to get in the van, drive back in, and get changed at work again.
You're wetty.
Yeah, so I had to ring my warehouse manager to come save me.
Another fatal mistake, listeners. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That was my don't. So yeah, a bit of a disaster for old me and Jake. And it was funny because usually if I go surfing with someone else at work, like we share the same lunch or whatever, I'll take my own car and say, well, just in case, we'll take 2 cars. It's literally 2 minutes around the corner, but we'll take 2 cars. And that one time we didn't, and we got fucked. So that was my disaster. And yes, Darren's right. My don't is don't not take at least like some spare clothes or something with you, or your actual clothes, because you never know what's going to happen. And I've actually got I've got a good do actually, I think, because my do is plan your wetsuit thickness for your session length. So what I mean
Oh,
by that is
yes, of
for my
course. Yes, that's gold, that one.
for my
Short
lunches.
session, a little bit thinner.
Yeah.
Long
So
session, go for the thickness.
100%. My surfs on lunch, I can only surf for like 50 minutes. And so I wear a 4-3, hooded 4-3. And by 50 minutes, it's getting cold. Like it's just getting through, and you're like far out. Like, but you're getting out, and you like for 50 minutes, I say to myself, non-stop paddle, because
Keep yourself busy.
you've only got 50 minutes. And then like if I'm surfing on a weekend where I'm like, well, I want a 3-hour sesh, surfing a thicker wetsuit, don't paddle for as many waves because like take your time and stuff, but plan your don't paddle out in a 4-3 and expect to be surfing for hours if you're in the south of England in January when it's minus.
I had 5-3 Quicksilver Synchro Plus, which I think is now their marathon sessions. 5 mil booties at them, which we don't necessarily need, but I surf Lenore and you're out the back, and a lot of times you can be sitting. Gloves and me slip-on hoodie.
Yeah,
it's my best wetty, this one. It's like I've got ones that are way more expensive than that. I was warm as toast, man.
yeah.
I was good until I got like a set on the head and just had to like nearly out the back. There was a reverse rip on the inside when you did laps, and like nearly out the back, nearly out the back. Oh, you saw that set? I sent you a little video.
Massive.
Imagine I got that when it wasn't like that big, but it was 6 to 8 foot. I got an 8-footer landed right in front of me. I don't know how my leggy didn't snap. I was just under. This girl that I know that was out there too, Matilda, she charges too. She said, I was climbing up a leg rope, and I was like, what am I doing? It was more annoying than anything else because I was nearly out, but it was the most perfect wave, and I was like, boom, boom. And then I got a full body flush.
Oh mate, when they land on you out there, I mean, I've had like a 3-foot wave land on me out there, and you feel like you've just been turned inside out.
Well, I did 3 laps at one stage, and I was getting hot, and I hate paddling with gloves, long paddle, and I was like, I'm not paddling fast enough. So I took them off, and I put them in like my top.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and then a lull hit straight away, and I said, Phil, I pulled them straight back out and put them on.
Yeah.
I was lucky because I was able to surf out there for 3 hours.
Yeah, man.
Thick wetty. Well, thank you very much for that was me do's and don'ts. Don't leave your board in the car park. I know. And here's a do. You ever find a board or someone's wetty and stuff?
Yeah.
You try and get it back to the person. There's no way in the world I could.
Nah.
I can't imagine people stealing a board. Like
it'll come back. It'll come back as well. That guy's going to get good karma, man. He's going to get some sick barrel, or
he's going to get some good pies. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But like I was thinking today, I was like thinking, okay, this dude that took back, he was in like a bit of an old station wagon, had a couple of old crusty looking short boards, and he's back. He looked under equipped, and it was, he could have easily taken. It was like, it looks like a semi bit of a beginner board. It's a Gracie 6'4" demi boo, but it had these 20s in it because it was a massive paddle and it was really bad conditions in the morning. So I thought I'll just take something just in case for fun. And like, imagine you see like a full like shiny board, like epoxy, JS, Firewire, something which is like
an oversized Hypto Crypto.
Something that you're thinking, okay, so this is a city lawyer or an engineer or someone, and like you can easily say, oh yeah, this dude might love that board his whole life. Maybe he's an engineer or a lawyer because he come from a hard upbringing, and he spent his whole life working like a dog to get ahead, because he didn't want to continue the tradition of hard luck, and only gets to surf occasionally. Loves it. And he's looking at that board in his room, and people like to take the piss out of that, but I don't. Like, he's looking at that board, and it's giving him joy. non-stop. Like,
you never ever know. Like, there's so many situations.
exactly.
There's heavy situations. Like, what about like, like things like, what about if his wife bought him the board and then she had some heavy accident or something, or his kids, or
Exactly.
like,
Anything.
so
Good for you to think up something like that, though, mate. It's classic English.
but also like it's just good, it's just good karma as well. Like, you shouldn't ever do something for the karma, but if you do it, that guy's going to get a mental barrel. If he'd have nicked the board the first time he surfed it, he probably would have smashed his face on it, knocked all his teeth out, and had bad karma. So yeah,
I was thinking, like, if it was someone had come up here for the either way, and Elliot was like, oh, and I was like, no, I hope it could be that. And Elliot's, what do you mean someone took it like that? And this is my son, and I said, well, someone may have taken it so that it won't get nicked, which is what I thought, which is what I'd do.
Which
because
is
if you leave it there, you
done.
think the next person's not necessarily going to think like you. Same with a wallet. Like, if you see a wallet, I've done that, taken it to the police station. Like, you're thinking, like, if you just leave it there for the dude to come back and the next guy comes along. Obviously, the wallet I found had 600 cash in, and I just kept that, like, handed the wallet in. I'm just kidding.
That's how we afforded the Gracie.
All right, Matt. I'll speak to you later this week.
Yeah, boy. Take care. Au revoir.
Au revoir.